Yes, going out strong, isn't it? Really, that's what it feels like to me. Is going out strong, and the direct. I mean, it's got a few disappointments, but I want to talk about those right now. So I'm glad we get to see Pikmin 4 in action right now. We were kind of always expecting it, to look that, the wonderful sort of like semi-realistic sort of environment. Actually done a pretty damn good job while now I'm looking at it in just up-resing everything. Everything looks so much more polished. I'm kind of wondering, a lot of choices of like how many Pokemon is going to just basically to keep everything as tight as possible in terms of like the gameplay, because the whole kind of like sort of like Pikmin management thing would not have been possible if they went completely totally overboard. So, and that's always been the thing since the first game, and even with Pikmin 3. They almost go like Shadow Pokemon in the later part of the trailer, so that was interesting to see what that actually means. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 getting more content, new characters and new storyline, which is almost like a continuation of the original Xenoblade. It looks kind of cool. Samba de Amigo making a return. You can't keep a good Sega franchise down. That's what seems to be all other people say. Samba de Amigo is a good Sega franchise. Well, we only got a chance to like figure it out because there was that one Samba de Amigo game for the Wii which kneecapped its potential, but it could very well fulfill that potential here. I think Tron being a thing seems interesting. I wonder if, like I said, I wonder if it's actually building on Tron Legacy. But I did skip over a couple of things here, like that fashion game, Fashion Dreamer. Like I said, the production values being what it is kind of makes sense. All the pretty colours and like the heavy light and all that kind of stuff. But also the fact that it seems to be one of those sort of free roaming games. Probably the only sort of interesting part of it to me. The fashion side of it, I'm not really into fashion, so I'm not that touching about it. Dead Cells getting essentially a Castlevania sort of thing is, to me, actually makes a heck of a lot of sense. I know I'd all saying like, oh, it's not a Metroidvania game, but considering the type of game it is, it's very much a rogue-like. It makes sense because Castlevania, is not that easy a game. At least like the classic Castlevanias weren't anyway. The Metroidvanias, or the Egovanias, as I choose to call them, and most Castlevania characters, I'd imagine, are a completely different beast. So, that's actually really nice. And yeah, Dead Cells living this long is also pretty great too. Ghost Trick making the return. Ghost Trick first came out on the DS. This is what you gotta understand. It looked absolutely fan-freaking-tastic on the DS, and then they released it on mobile. It looked even more fantastic then. So seeing it again here on Switch, still looking pretty great. It looks like it's been up-res though, is the only thing. It helps. It's a fantastic game as well. Deca Police. I'm trying to pinpoint. I mean, I've said it's sort of like Phoenix Wright and all that kind of stuff, but it's not really a fair comparison, really, is it? A free roaming detective game with sci-fi elements, and people thought this was going to be a platinum game. It's been done by Level 5, who, as you know, creator of another detective franchise, which I will touch on a little bit later. It's probably something that you probably would not have necessarily expected from them, really. Speaking of Platinum, though, going to the next game, yeah, Bayonetta Origins. Getting to know a little bit more about Cereza is absolutely fantastic. I love the whole thing of the Cheshire Cat being your demon, as it were. Very much in that sort of thing that you got in Bayonetta 3. So, other than the fact that Cereza herself isn't doing much at this point, it helps, and it looks really nice too. That lovely illustrative style definitely helps in giving you that sort of storybook kind of feel to it as well. Very, very interesting indeed. I know some people say, "Oh, it's not, your usual character action game," but I like it. It's a different sort of genre. It works for me. Splatoon 3 expansion pass. My gosh, but I'm not really that into Splatoon. Like I said, I haven't played the first game yet, but my god, even then I can see it. They have packed so much into it. Incopolis is back with a whole bunch of returning characters, and I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of returning arenas as well. That coming out, and a bunch of returning nodes too. The side order looks just absolutely gorgeous as well, and very, very intriguing as to what that's going to bring to the pack. Like I said, the Illusion Island, what does it remind me of? There was a game that came out, I think it might have been Commander Keen. People were kind of pissed about the art style in that. I'd imagine some people are going to react the same way here as well. For myself, this just harks me back to the Master System version of the original Castle of Illusion game, and that was good. That was actually a really good game, even compared to the Mega Drive version. It was a good game in its own right. So to me, this is like that. Whether it will be actually a pretty good game, it does have a few sort of elements that kind of remind me of other sort of 2D games. There's parts of it that must have reminded me of certain 2D sections in Mario Galaxy. So yeah, that's going to be one to possibly look out for. Fire Emblem Engage expansion pass, a whole bunch of returning characters, and a story expansion. That's pretty good. Harmony the Fall of Revelry looks amazing. It just looks amazing. I suppose some people say it's more visual novel, but I like the visualness of it is kind of, what a visual novel usually looks like. This is way beyond that. It was a game that came out before. I don't know if it was done by the same. I think it was released by Don't Nod as well. That had the same sort of thing. But this looks way far above and beyond that. Of course, Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah, I'll probably see what that play like in the demo. If it improves on the first Octopath Traveler. Remaster of Real Life Katamari and the Katamari Damacy. More people should have a bit more Katamari in their life. Why the heck not? Sea of Stars looks really great. I'd say it kind of reminds me of Secret of Mana. Maybe that's not the best comparison in all honesty, because there seems to be a lot of sort of turn-based combat in that. Although maybe it is more of that. Now I'm kind of looking at the rest of the sort of the gameplay footage there. So that's pretty cool. This game here, Omega Strikers, I'm just reminded of Windjammers. I don't know why. I'm just reminded of that. It doesn't seem to run as well as Windjammers, but it's a totally different sort of thing. It's proper air hockey. I must admit, I'm not that jazzed about it. personally, it looks okay. I kind of wonder if it actually bothers the limitations of the Switch, or is it just because the engine isn't really optimized that well? That's the only kind of other thing I can possibly think about. But it could play good, so there's that. Etrian Odyssey is Etrian Odyssey. How many people are looking at that and thinking, why is the draw distance so small? The Switch could easily do better than this. Well, it's because it is what it is. It's a remaster. And, given what Etrian Odyssey is, I almost tempted to say it's part of the package. But, no, it's good to see that. There's not really any hints of a new title in that series. Maybe there's a new one coming soon. We don't even know. Maybe we do know. Maybe you don't know, and I haven't really looked into it that much. Speaking of which, Advance Wars Reboot Camp. Just this trailer alone makes me excited because they're really taking the presentation to a whole new goddamn level. It looks fantastic. I mean, there's no gameplay footage here, and some people are kind of like about how it looked. I think it looks great for what it's actually doing, and this trailer just has me even more excited about that. Who'd have thought that what's essentially cinematics is making me excited about a game that we already know about? Well, here's the thing, they showed the gameplay first, alright? That's why. And they showed like the in-game graphics of the characters in there as well, and that had me like screaming like a little child at one point. Seeing getting to play as Magalore in Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. How many people expected that? Or was that already a thing? I don't know. To me, it's pretty nice. So, but I suppose some people will bet, oh, but it's locked behind the full game. It's a bonus. It's kind of like, there's a few games that are released that does that sort of thing, and I think that's pretty great, and it gives value to the entire package. Not sure about either the full player, but that's why Kirby Return to Dreamland was so great. It was a multiplayer, so why the heck not? Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. I know some people thought that the Game Boy thing was a little overdue. I don't know. The fact that they released it with the Game Boy Advance actually kind of makes up for the delay in the sense, I guess. But it's giving more value to Nintendo Switch Online, and I suppose that can only be a good thing. Interesting kind of like first launch lineup. They skipped out Super Mario Land and went straight for 6 golden coins. Is the first thing I notice. Link's Awakening DX rather than the original Link's Awakening. Fair. Gargoyle's Quest basically confirming that yes, we're doing third-party stuff here as well. Come on. So that's great. And then they followed that up with, in the Game Boy Advance lineup, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Mario Advance 4 Kururin, which once again, confirms, third-party stuff's coming, and Minish Cap, of course, and WarioWare. So, great lineup to start with. Yeah, I'm wondering, I'm wondering what attachments are we having here then? There are no attachments. This is what you get. The Switch is a handheld already. It's got the buttons. What attachments do you need, for Pete's sakes? None. It's a handheld. There you go. And then they did this. They did a remastered version of Metroid Prime, and it looks so good. I'm wondering though, now I look at it, because it looks that good, is this basically a test? Because I'm wondering how far they got with Metroid Prime 4. at the moment, and I'm wondering if they kind of went a fair distance and then went, you know what, let's take this engine that we've got, because I'm pretty sure that like, they did quite a lot with like the original Metroid Prime engine and sort of like, you know, worked it for the Switch. Let's just re-release the first Metroid Prime. Let's just give them that. I'm sure a lot of people might end up complaining that Metroid Prime Remastered wasn't followed up by one, echoes and corruption, and then they were like, well, okay, does that mean we get a Metroid Prime 4? And nothing comes up. I have a feeling this could possibly be the test bed. If you like Metroid Prime and you want it on Switch, buy this. Then we will consider going forward with the sequel, because from what I've heard, it's been in development hell. At one point Nintendo were doing it themselves, then they gave it back to Retro Studios, and yeah, it seems like they're having a bit of difficulty with that. Or they've gotten so far, but then when is this going to hit the sales? So I have a feeling this is just Metroid Prime released in a different and better engine. You know, it's hard to even looking at it. It's hard to even say that this is remastered. No, the models might not be new, but they've certainly been enhanced in a massive way, and it just looks fantastic. And I'd certainly buy it again and play it again, looking this great. Imagine, or I'm hoping that there will be extras even in the game. Apparently it's released now, so yeah, we'll get to it. I hope, you know, people pick it up. We'll have findings, and that will make me determine if I pick up the physical version or not. But I might pick it up anyway, because it's Metroid Prime for fake's sakes. Why wouldn't I? You know, this will be the first time I can have it on the go, like properly on the go, not just seeing it in it, not just playing it through a gamepad via Wii compatibility on the Wii U. This one that I can actually take with me on the Switch. You know, there's one thing that the Switch has always brought was like the value of being able to play these console games on the go, and and they're fully French console games as well. That to me is reason enough. And you know, this Metroid Prime Remastered was reason enough to make me completely completely disregard what was coming up next, and it turns out to be Master Detective Artai's Rain-Code, which sounds familiar, but it looks very Danganronpa to me, and it feels more like an extension of that more than anything else. I haven't really looked that one into the Danganronpa games, but this looks suitably as crazy as Danganronpa, so I'm pretty sure fans of that will be very intrigued with this. Baten Kaitos making a return. Wasn't expecting that. Really wasn't. No, we got the remaster, we got a game which I'm pretty sure, I think it was released in the West, so I can't remember if it was, but the fact that it's available here is pretty great. Fantasy Life, getting what looks like a full-blown sequel, also makes me very, very happy. Is it a mobile game? Can someone confirm? I don't really look at that much mobile games. Did Fantasy Life get a mobile release, and is this it? And does that mean actually get it on a proper? I'm sorry, mobile will never be a proper gaming platform. But it is a gaming platform. I'll say that much. Just not the one that I'm particularly that into. So yeah, that's a thing. Fantasy Life I. What else is a thing is this reveal. this reveal of Professor Layton, and it looks like a fully fledged Switch game, and I don't know that much about it. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. I have to ask my sister about that. She might know more what that actually means. That is the shortest reveal I've ever seen anywhere ever. What is this about? Is there going to be more of a trailer on the Nintendo site after this? Probably. I'll have to have a look at that. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe showing the way 4 of the booster pack. You see Yoshi's Island, we get Birdo. That's what we get to see so far. Okay, great. It continues to be fantastic value. Then you get the Sizzle Reel, which we see blank, which looks kind of interesting. Kind of reminds me of It Takes Two, you know, those sort of games. A Mega Man Battle Network compilation, essentially. I was never really that much into the Mega Man Battle Network games. I know it's kind of almost like a sort of a turn-based sort of thing, which is kind of Mega Man, kind of possibly Pokemon, kind of. That's all I really know about it. So people who are fans of that are probably giddy with excitement, but also probably want a proper goddamn sequel. Minecraft Legends is Minecraft Legends. I really don't know that much about that, and I'm not that keen enough to find out. Although I am keen to find out what Have a Nice Death is, because that looks almost Hollow Knight to me, although a bit more kind of like bombastic than that. And of course, Konami Baseball. Yay, Konami are still releasing games. Yay. Anyway, Disney Dreamlight Valley looks as good as it could be, and that's all I have to say about that, because obviously the next big thing we need to talk about is Tears of the Kingdom, and it just looking better by a second. The engine looks better than Breath of the Wild, it has to be said. They've certainly done a heck of a lot of enhancements to the textures and stuff, at least. So this is very much the Majora's Mask to Breath of the Wild's Ocarina of Time, methinks. You know, it looks better, it has a completely sort of like different feel in terms of the gameplay and the environment and that. Still not that much reveal other than what we saw that was hinted in the kind of like things of what the sort of the main sort of like gameplay flow of this is going to be, other than the fact that it's more verticality, there's more stuff in this guy. Yes, it has a power glove. Now you're playing with power. Like they weren't gloves in Zelda before, for Pete's sakes. But yeah, and also the return of the dwarf is kind of what I'm most looking forward to in this, and the fact that they confirmed it for this year is also very, very pleasing indeed. That's it. I think there are other things that people might have been expecting. People were like bigging up on flipping Link's Awakening HD and Twilight Princess HD and For the Love of Gold. Stop it! Just stop! You got your Skyward Sword HD and you get to live with that and play it, you know, as it's meant to be played, quote unquote. You know, with enhanced visuals running at 60 frames per second and all that kind of stuff. You get that and you'll like it. Damn you. If you want to play a HD version, get the chopping Wii U version of Twilight Princess, for Pete's sakes. And the Wind Waker HD. But you didn't. I'm sure it'll come out eventually. I'm sure it will. Like maybe when the next Switch comes out, which I'm pretty sure. unless people are like expecting there'll be a review this year, I'm kind of with that. Um, you know, it came out in 2017. It's 2023 now. It's been over 5 years. The cycle must continue. Anyways, getting off track there, I'll just say that yeah, this was a pretty good Nintendo Direct. A lot of teasers in there, so that's kind of like a sort of thing. But still plenty of gameplay and stuff, to I think that to satisfy people what those games actually look like, and what they will, are then just the visuals, and that, to me is always good. A lot of people in these, a lot of these presentations are kind of learning that people want to see gameplay, and I'm kind of glad to see more of that. As Nintendo, with the Nintendo Direct, it's just they're already ahead of the curve in that regard, because certain people might just be like, damn you, why are you saying that big fanboy garbage? But that's just what I think anyway. But what do you think of the Nintendo Direct in February, the first one in 2023? What are you most looking forward to? What surprised you? What do you think of Metroid Prime Remaster coming out instead of Metroid Prime 4? What do you think that actually means for Metroid Prime 4, or even the Metroid Prime franchise, as it were? Or what do you think of the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games coming to Nintendo Switch Online? And are you satisfied with what we got, or are you wanting more? What do you think of Tears of the Kingdom? How's it looking for you? Is it something that you'll definitely want to get? And what do you think that Professor Layton game is? You'll probably find out in a separate trailer somewhere else. So, but are you glad to see that returning among other stuff like Ed3 and Odyssey? Oh, and of course, Pikmin 4. What do you think of that? Are you excited about that? Now you see more of it? Let me know in the comments if you want to. I'm not forcing you, but it'll be nice to know. Anyways, that's enough from me. This was live. And yeah, I've gotta have dinner, because I haven't had my dinner yet. It's really late. It's possibly about 11 now, and I still haven't had my food. Anyways, with that said, thanks for watching, and keep on playing, folks.